What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video on the Texas Rangers Report. And in this video, we are going to be going over the three biggest takeaways in minor league spring training so far. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe right now, become your number one source for all things Texas Rangers. But also make sure to check out the Discord. The link is in the description down below. Basically, an app to get Rangers news and rumors 24/7, because people on the channel and myself talk Rangers there 24/7. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And some of you guys might be wondering, why did I say minor league camp? Isn't there a lockout going on? Isn't there no baseball? Yes and no. So players on the 40-man roster they're part of the Players Association, so they aren't allowed. Those guys are locked out right now. So guys like Corey Seager, who we signed, Marcus Semien, John Gray, Cole Calhoun, or you could also look at prospects that have been added like Sam Huff or Ricky Vanasco. He was recently added this year. All those guys, they can't work out with the teams. They can't contact any of those coaches. So it's really a bad time for baseball, and hopefully a collective bargaining agreement is worked out soon. But we still have top prospects that aren't on the 40-man roster. So those guys reported to Arizona on Monday for minor league spring training. And I'm going to be going over some of the biggest takeaways so far. The first one has to be Jack Leiter. We obviously one of the best pitching prospects the Rangers have probably ever had. I almost said in a long time, but probably ever have had. He was drafted this year, so it makes sense that he's not on the 40-man roster. And it makes sense that there's going to be a lot of eyes on him. We drafted him out of Vanderbilt, arguably one of the best players in that draft class. And some people thought he could have made the majors last year. That probably would have been a stretch. He decided to take a year off, finish his degree at Vanderbilt, and continue working at Vanderbilt, which probably was a good decision. It wasn't a bad decision. You have guys that work in the offseason at Vanderbilt, like Mike Minor and David Price. So if you have major league players there, it obviously is reputable, and it's one of the best baseball programs in the country. So I don't fault Jack Leiter. And what would he have been doing if he decided to come over to the Rangers? He would have been pitching minor league games. That's what he's going to be doing this year, but he decided to take some time off. So, no question, first time in a Rangers uniform. Scouts, front office, Chris Woodward, they are getting their looks on him because he is going to be a quick flyer. Hopefully, everything goes according to plan, no injuries. Going to be a quick flyer through the Rangers minor league system. He is nasty, and he's already dominating hitters at the Rangers minor league camp. The second thing has to be the prospect versatility. And we all know that this was coming. We have a bunch of minor league infielders, and what did we do this offseason? We signed shortstop Corey Seager to 10 years. We signed Marcus Semien, second baseman, to a 7-year contract. And if you look at it from a minor leaguer's perspective, if you play shortstop and you play second base, you're thinking, how do I get to the majors with the Texas Rangers? And most likely it's not going to be as a shortstop or second baseman. So if you're Ezekiel Duran, never mind, he's on the 40-man, so he's not at camp. But if you're Josh Smith, you're Justin Foskey, you are Dustin Harris, you're thinking, okay, maybe not short, maybe not second. Those are still good positions to have on the resume, but maybe, like Josh Smith has said, he's been working on in the outfield, and I know some people on this channel say he reminds you of Whit Merrifield, and that wouldn't be bad, and that'd be nice position versatility. Justin Foskey, who we drafted in the first round in 2020, second baseman. He's played third in college, and he's working on some third in the minor leagues as well. And then Dustin Harris, who we got in the Mike Minor trade, and this trade is looking really good. I'll have to touch on this in another video, but I think you guys all know that we could have probably gotten a top 100 prospect if we trade Mike Minor whenever he was an all-star. We waited, and we never thought that Dustin Harris was going to turn out to be like this. He hasn't really found his position yet, but he raked last year in single A, and he played a little bit third, a little bit the first, and he's also working in the outfield. So it's good to see that the minor leaguers aren't like just stuck to one position. They want to do whatever it takes to get to the big leagues with the Rangers, and that's not all the prospects. We have Maximo Acosta, who's a shortstop, Luis Angel Acuna, who's a shortstop, Cameron Colley, who's a shortstop. So I'm sure they'll still get games at their traditional positions, but always working on those other ones doesn't hurt getting to the majors at all. The third one is the front office gets to look at the next wave of starting pitchers in the minor leagues, of course. So obviously you have the likes of Jack Leiter and Colwyn. Those guys are obviously going to be the next wave. But when I say the next wave, I mean guys like TK Roby, Avery Weems, Zach Kent, Cody Bradford, and Chase Lee. These are guys that you probably took in the later rounds of the draft. They're flyers, and maybe they've had a little bit of success in college, a little success in the minors, and you really want to get a good eye on them. Some of these guys maybe won't ever reach the majors, or maybe they do and they don't have a big contribution, but you never know. I mean, TK Roby, out of the 5 of these players that I mentioned, I think he has the most upside, but he does fit the mold of a guy with upside that could probably go down with TJ. If you want the quickest guy to the major leagues, would probably be Chase Lee, who we drafted. I don't know which round it was, but it was definitely this year out of Alabama, and he already made Double-A last year. He pitched pretty well. He's a sidearm reliever, so you never know. Maybe he pitches well. He gets to the majors this year if there is a season this year, or they wait out and bring him up in 2023. So he could be a nice guy at the end of the bullpen. And it just goes to show that you don't, not always drafting starting pitchers helps. These relievers help out as well. So it's good that the Rangers get their eye on not just Jack Leiter, not just Colwyn, who we expect is going to be a nice 1-2 punch in the next few years if everything goes according to plan, but also TK Roby, who we drafted in the 3rd round back in 2020, Avery Weems, who we got in the Lance Lynn deal, Zach Kent, who we drafted, Cody Bradford, who we drafted, and Chase Lee, who we drafted. And then a bonus thing that the Rangers get to look at is the catching depth in the minor leagues. So right now, we only have 3 catchers on the 40-man roster: Jonah Heim, Jose Trevino, and Sam Huff. And respectfully so, Jonah Heim and Jose Trevino are really great defensive catchers, but I don't foresee them in the team's long-term plans. As for Sam Huff, he's a former top 100 prospect, and depending on what prospect rankings you look at, he still might be a top 100 prospect. However, I think I've said this multiple times, I think he might need to change his position. He dealt with knee injuries last year, didn't even catch last year, and for a big dude, 6'5", 250, about the size of Joey Gallo, even if he gets healthy, I don't know how sustainable he'll be. So I think a move to first base makes the most sense for Sam Huff. But getting off that topic, we only have 3 catchers on the 40-man, so the Rangers get to look at their other catching depth. You have guys like Matt Watley. I'm pretty sure he's still in the organization. You have David Garcia, who the Rangers could have added to the 40-man roster, but they released him and then signed him again. If we're being honest, the catching depth isn't great, but at least the Rangers get to get a look and see who gets the higher preference in the pecking order. So those are the 4 things, or 3 things, and then the bonus one is the Rangers get to look at their new toy in Jack Leiter. They get to work in the versatility of the middle infield prospects. They get to look at their next wave of pitchers, and they also get to look at their catching prospects. So if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up down below. I'm trying to keep you guys posted on the Texas Rangers during this lockout, but also hopefully when the season starts up as well. And with that being said, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.